Good evening. Thank you for joining us here for Songwriter Spotlight. We're coming to you from the West Tennessee Delta Heritage Center in Brownsville, Tennessee, where you will find the West Tennessee Music Museum, the last home of bluesman Sleepy John Estes, and of course the Tina Turner Museum. We're so glad that you chose to join us this evening and are looking forward to you hearing the music and the stories from Jackson, Tennessee's Steve Patterson. Please help me welcome him. Steve, thank you so much for being here this evening. Always a pleasure to have you back in Brownsville.
It's my pleasure. Glad to be here.
Well, you were just here for the Blues Fest.
I was.
And we really enjoyed your music then and looking forward to hearing some of your originals today.
Well, thank you. I had a great time. It was a great festival. I encourage everybody next year to show up. It's just a good time.
Tell us a little bit about your music history.
Oh, wow. I was born in it. Family had a family quartet, and of course we were raised in a little Baptist church, and singing was of utmost importance. Everybody in the family sang. At a very young age, I went to what they call singing school, where we learned things like you don't see today, but we learned shape note music. And if you ever hear any music from North Alabama, North Mississippi, Western Tennessee, a lot of the hymns and everything, the hymnals had shape note music, which meant the shape of the note, whatever it might be, gave you the pitch. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And there's a type of that which is called Sacred Heart music that's being reinvented, I guess you would say. But anyway, I learned that. I got in band. I was in choir, and of course continued in church. And I wanted to be. I thought I wanted to be a music teacher or a music minister or something of that sort, and it didn't work out. But I went to college at Union, graduated with a vocal degree, and then went in the funeral business like some of the other family, and did that for years. And but anyway, that's how I got started. I learned to play guitar at 10. My dad bought me a BB gun, and he bought me a small acoustic guitar, both of them from the same hardware store. And he caught me with the BB gun shooting his Purple Martins. I shot one, and he saw that fall to the ground. And for some reason, that BB gun disappeared, so I was left with a guitar. And my dad played. He was a very good guitarist, and he taught me a few chords. And of course, it went with that in the high school, and you learn to play there in the bands and all this sort of stuff. And I was at one of my best friend's house one day, and I heard the Allman Brothers for the first time. And I went, that's what I want to play. And then I got involved in bluegrass and all this other stuff. And so I'm sort of like a utility man. If it's country, I can play a little bit of that. If it's blues, I can play a little bit of that. If it's classical, I can play just that or that. Jazz, so it's given me opportunity to play a lot. And I'd rather play than sing. And but that's just, what I enjoy. That's how it happened.
Well, how about playing us a song?
All right. This is called Tom and Tom, or Tommy and Tommy. One of my favorite guitarists is that was alive in Jackson, who passed away a few years ago, was Tom Price. And Tom was an exceptional guitar player and an exceptional teacher, and he taught so many people how to play guitar. And I just, we lost such a jewel in him. And we were friends, and we got to play a lot together. And he was just a great guy. The other is Tommy Emanuel, who's from Australia. And he moved to Nashville. But if you ever just pick up some, go to YouTube and look at one of his videos. He's phenomenal. This is done in his style a little bit. Okay, I'm not saying I'm imitating Tommy Emanuel, Never happened. Couldn't happen. I don't have the talent he has. But he's an excellent. He's one of the few that Chet Atkins decided that would be a CGP, a certified guitar player. There's only 4 or 5 of them now, I think. So he got his stamp of approval. So we'll see what you think of my version of Tom and Tom.
That was nice, thank you. So tell me, which do you enjoy more, arranging or writing?
I do. I love arranging music. And my favorite thing to arrange is old hymns because they lend themselves so well to guitar. The chord voicings, and most hymns are very simple. And you can explore with them, you can enhance them, where you have different chords or the structures there, but you can embellish it where it makes it a really beautiful song. Not that it's not, but hymns are written for the words, unlike a lot of today's Christian music, which is written for the music. Okay, you can't even hear the words in a lot of places these days. So it was written for the congregation to sing, so it had to be done simply. But I love arranging those, I really do.
Well, when you are writing, are you creating the melody first, or are the words just coming to you first?
I always create the melody first, always. It'll be something I'm sitting there playing with, and I'll go, what would go with this? And I've only written 2 songs with words, truly, in my life, by myself. Now, Willie and I wrote some things, Willie Evans and I wrote some things together. But most of the time I wrote the tune and he wrote the words. He's a very good wordsmith and I'm not. Mine come out like the old first grade readers see, Spot Run. And of course blues songs are, and I don't mean this demeaning to anybody, nobody. It's just part of the nature of the blues. It's very repetitive, and you use the same line 2 times, and you have another line, and you go back to the first line again, and those are pretty easy to do. But and I've written some of those, but nothing that I would want to, record or anything.
How about sharing one with us that you wrote words as well?
Okay, this is called Evening Sun. I see the evening sun going down, another lonely night with you not around. I miss you, my sweet love, more every day. You said you'd never leave me this way, then you turned around and just kept walking away. I miss you, my sweet love, more every day. So many nights I just sat and think, wondering what it was. Lord, it makes my heart sing. Sweet, sweet baby, won't you please come home and never ever leave me here all alone. You said you'd never leave me this way, then you turned around and just kept walking away. I miss you, my sweet love, more every day. So many nights I just sat and think, wondering what it was. Lord, it makes my heart sing. Sweet, sweet baby, won't you please come home and never ever leave me here all alone. You said you'd never leave me this way, then you turned around and just kept walking away. I miss you, my sweet love, more every day. Yeah, I do. I miss you, my sweet love, more every day.
You told me something about yourself I didn't know. You work for a funeral home?
Sure did. I was teaching guitar in Jackson, Jaco's Music, when it was a viable going business. And school was out at Union for the spring or for the summer. And I wanted to stay in Jackson, and a friend of mine told me about, he worked at a funeral home, just answering the phone at night. He said, they're looking for somebody else to do it too. He said, I'm fixing to get married and move out. You got free room and board, and you got a small stipend for just answering the phone. I thought. Now my family had been in the funeral. One of my older brothers owned the funeral home, and I was raised around it, but never, I'd go by and say hi to him or something, but I never was in the workings of it. And so I thought, well, I can do this. I can answer the phone. And but then it was, you have to answer the phone and then go get the body. Oh, okay. That's. And on the weekends, you have to drive a car, a hearse or a limousine. Okay, I can do that. And they bought you clothes. They wanted you to match everybody else. It was still a pretty good job. And I got real interested in it. And I learned the workings of the, back door, behind the doors and on the front. And I went ahead and got my funeral director's license after a couple of years. And did that for, like I said, close to 20 years.
Were you playing in bands at that time?
I had a little, it's about the time that Ricky Skaggs and Emanuel Harris and some of those people got real popular. I sort of put a band together like that. It was called Trace Creek. We had a lot of success locally and nominal statewide or region-wide. We were on the Nashville network. You Can Be a Star. Got to meet some of the, people in country music and hang out, and it was a lot of fun. It was just fun. I had a problem at that time with imbibing too much a little bit in the grape, and that's how I ended up working in alcohol and drug abuse recovery services, and I've done that for the past 30 years.
Well, how much inspiration for your music has come from those life experiences?
A lot, I think a lot. Especially the solo guitar stuff, because when you walk into a funeral home at a visitation, they've got that music going. It used to be all the organ music. You thought you'd round the corner and see Dracula. But I heard that all the time, and then they moved to where they were doing instrumental music and using more other instruments like guitar and so forth. And then I think just that when I play acoustic guitar, I don't play hard. I play very soft. I think that's part of the reason why, because I'm so used to, the music being so low keyed. And a lot of it, I think, is inspirational. God has given me so much over the years and has saved my life way more times than I deserve, and has seen me through some rough patches. And whatever I play, I really want it to, especially instrumental things. It's sort of it's a way I can worship and not have to say anything, because words are so inadequate.
Do you have another one you can play us?
This is a good story, I think. Years ago, there was a train, I think it was on the GM&O, I may be wrong, but I think it was on the GM&O Railroad that came through Jackson, and it was called the Little Rebel. And the Little Rebel was the first air-conditioned train on a passenger train on line, and I think it ran from Miami all the way to Chicago by way of coming through Jackson. And it was the first one to have stewards as such. The Little Rebel. Well, I'm down at the station, sitting by the tracks, waiting for the train to bring my baby back, waiting for the rebel, waiting for the rebel, waiting for the little rebel to bring my months since my baby's been gone. I cried, I pleaded, baby, please come home. Waiting for the rebel, waiting for the rebel, waiting for the little rebel to bring my baby back. Well, it's 6 long months since my baby's been home. Something's gotta happen, that woman's gotta go home. Waiting for the rebel, waiting for the rebel, waiting for the little rebel to take my baby back. Waiting for the little rebel to take my baby back.
Oh, that was a fun song. You mentioned earlier that you heard the Allman Brothers and thought that's the kind of music that you want to play. Who are some of your other music heroes?
It's so strange. Of course, they were a blues-based southern rock band out of Georgia, Florida and Georgia. And Greg Allman loved Sleepy John Estes. You know, on the second to the last album he did 2 Sleepy John songs. I can't remember one of them, but one of them was Floating Bridge. And did a real swampy kind of, reminds you of the Hatchet Bottom kind of thing, you know. But it was great. But he loved his music. So I'm in college now, and I get a call from Paul Jackson from here in Brownsville. He used to live here. I think he lives in Alabama now. But he said, we got the Peach Festival going on. I need a guitar player for this guy named Hammy Nixon. I said, who's he? I had no idea. I didn't know who Sleepy John was, any of this. And he said, man, he used to play with Hammy. He's toured the world. I mean, he used to play with Sleepy John. He and Yank Rachel and so forth. Came down here. I met Hammy, and he looked at me and said, boy, you think you can play the blues? And I said, I don't know, but I'll do my best. We got through playing, and he said, yeah, you all right, you know. But he was funny. He was just a sweet old guy and great. Later on, when Jimmy Taylor and I started playing together, we got to play with Yank Rachel. So we got to play 2 out of the 3. Sleepy John died before I was even thinking about playing the blues. But they're still really big influences on me because they had that country sound along with it. They were using instruments like the mandolin that you don't see in blues bands anymore, and even in acoustic blues bands. Of course, when the what's his name brought his blues band, the jug band down here with Annie Raines and Paul Rochelle, John Sebastian. That was that music, you know. And, it's very distinctive, and it's native to this area, much more so than Delta blues or any of that kind of stuff. But they gave me great influences. Other influences, other than the blues, Chet Atkins, you know. And he had a student by the name of Tommy Jones. I was playing bluegrass one summer up in Gatlinburg, and Tommy was playing with Archie Campbell across the street. And we got together, and he showed me I just watched him. He didn't show me a lot of the finger picking things. And that's where I picked up a lot of that, was through that. Those two, you know, once again, I'm skipping around from genre to genre, you know.
Well, tell me the story of Addie's Waltz.
Addie is my 13-year-old daughter, and I have a 9-year-old son too. And they are just the love of my life. And I was sitting around playing with this tune in my head. You know, there's a lot of great music you hear that's background music, but it's really good, especially like in movies and things, you know. Those guys are geniuses, how they follow along with the storyline and play and write this music. Anyway, I was seeing this little girl in the woods with lilies and, you know, all these beautiful flowers around her in a white dress, and she's got flowers in her hair, and she's just twirling, and I thought, that's what this song is about. And so I wrote it, and I named it after my daughter. I always wanted to video, and she was very young at that time. I always wanted to do a video of her doing that, but we never got around to it, unfortunately. You know, getting around to it's a big, big thing. And so this is Addie's Waltz.
What does Addie think of her song?
Oh, she loves it. She loves. Daddy, play my song. Yeah, because if I'm home and I'm watching TV or whatever's going on, having a conversation, I've got this in my hands.
So you play every day?
Every day. Every day. Every now and then, I'll take a day, get busy and do other stuff, go fishing or something. But most every day, it's going to be in my hands for an hour or two.
Tell folks where they can find more of your music online.
At different places. I've got some YouTube stuff. I've got some Facebook stuff. Just look under my name, Steve Patterson. You can find some stuff under Highway Crossroads. Jimmy Taylor and I have there's three of his CDs that I'm on.
Well, again, thank you all so much for joining us this evening. I hope that you've enjoyed Steve's music, and I hope that you will look him up online. I also hope that you will plan to join us again in 2 weeks when we will spotlight another songwriter. Steve, thanks again for being here, for sharing your music and your stories with us. You know that you're welcome back anytime.
Well, I feel home here, feel at home, you know, it's great.
Tell us the story behind the song that you're gonna play us out on, Tennessee Iris.
I love the state of Tennessee. You know, I've played in the Smokies, I've played on Bill. Totally different, just totally different. But one thing about we're all volunteers, you know. Tennessee, in more ways than one, is a big volunteer state. The population here has a lot of love for each other. And, you know, some people say, well, I only see the bad things. Well, look for the good things, they're there. Tennessee Iris, it's a state flower. And there's no pretty, even though it's a short-lived, you know, bulb that comes up, and there's so many varied colors, and it's just beautiful. And you can tell I work in funeral, but it's because I love flowers.